YouTube, how the heck you doing? I'm doing great and I hope you are too. Finally, I'm bringing it to you guys. It's my head-to-head of the 6D that I have with the Canon and my new Canon RP Plus that I have. So a lot of you have been sending me questions and things that you wanted to see. So I'm going to bring it to you in little increments. I don't want to bring you one big long video that you would have to skip through or whatever you need to do to get to the part you want. So the first one up is the 50mm lens that I have here. It is a 1.8, I believe, 1.4. So I put that on there. It does have autofocus and everything. I put it on both the cameras, went outside, did some outdoor photography, and I thought it was going to be pretty easy. And I tried to get similar shots as far as activity, because one person said, how does it perform in activities such as following children or such? And my child is actually a four-legged white thing, so he's what I used as my subject out there. Still moves around quite a bit, doesn't stay still like most children do. So he was my activity one, and I did some still shots of flowers and stuff I have in my garden. So we're going to go ahead, dive into what I came up with. Like I said, it didn't quite pan out like what I was seeing in my head, how I would do it. These are two different cameras, obviously, from years apart. Got a different digic on the RP than from the 6D. You got different RAW camera filing. This is camera RAW 3, I think, and this was RAW 2. So it did play some differences, I believe, in the outcome. But let's go ahead, pop that in, and we'll see what we got. So I opened up the files that I have. I took about 57 photos altogether between the two cameras. Not quite evenly. Some I did a little bit more in the others camera than I did in the 6D or the RP. But this is what I came up with these. Like I said, I tried to get pretty equal amounts of what I was shooting. You can see I got some flowers here, and I divided them up into categories in my Lightroom here. So the ones that are framed out in green were done with the 6D. The ones in blue or gray blue were done on the RP Plus. So let's go ahead and go back to all of the photos here. I'm going to just go ahead and select out one of the photos that I thought was fairly close in capturing, and go ahead and select him. And let's just do a little comparison, side-by-side comparison to those two. As you can see, the RP very much darker in the background, and it has an up-close picturing of it. And I wasn't trying to get up close to it. I tried to stay the same distance. The RP does have the extension on it, so it was pushing the 50mm closer to the subject. But like I said, in my framing, I was trying to keep within the same distance. But as you can see in the close-up here on the flower, it's got greater detail. It's a little closer. Let me see if I can zoom in even more. It did pretty good as far as the detail. It didn't blow out the flower at all. I used both automatic settings on this, both cameras, the 6D and the RP camera, so I didn't lose anything as far as exposure. It was all done automatically through it, and that could be a part where the digic plays into that as far as how it processes it. So that was the two close-up ones that I did on that. Out in the field, a little still photography. As you can see, both backgrounds are pretty blown out of focus, because this one, the 6D, is a little bit closer in subject. The background is blown out a little bit more. But overall, I think on this one, coloring's not bad. Coloring on both of them probably not too bad as far as this being a lighter. Obviously it's going to be lighter, but it does have a few blown out highlights on the edges of the flower. Where on the RP, if I can just scroll down, it's got fringing on it. You can see some fringing along the edge there. So that could be in the processing of the flower too. And overall, I do like the RP version on this one. So let's go ahead, back out of that one. I also had Let's see a close-up one of those two. So do that one there, and if I scroll down to my other one, I think it was this one. So go ahead, side-by-side comparison. I was trying to get this little guy right here. So you got the RP on the right side, left side. So I'm going to zoom in on this guy a little bit. Obviously the framing is not the same on these two, so I wasn't able to get the same capture in the comparison here. So if I zoom in on that one a little bit, pretty good detail, got good coloring, some highlight blowout again like I said on that one. Let's pull this guy over into the danger zone here. I thought I had the same bud on that one, but it doesn't look like I do. So we'll just blow into this guy right here. Pretty good detail, little blowout on those highlights there. Always good to go probably a little darker than lighter. You can always recover details in darker. You can always recover details in underexposure than you can overexposure. So let me go ahead and get back out of there, and we'll go to our little guy here, Mr. Reggie. And I think this one was a little on the blurry side because he was moving around. So I was trying to focus or keep in focus the head area, but as you can see that got fuzzed out on the RP camera. But if you go back along the back and fur line here, you can see that he does have a fair amount of detail that didn't get blown out too much. Go back there. What are you doing? And let me do one comparison between the two. So I had this guy here, Reggie, and I'll scroll down. I believe it was this guy here. So comparison up. We're really blowing out on that one. Let's go back in. There we go. So he was laying down. So he's not like running around, but he's chewing on the stick, so he's pretty active, moving around his head pretty good. And if you can see when I dive into the details here, the RP did have a better focus as far as the hairline, the details on the stick. On the 6D, kind of blown out or a bit blurry as far as the details of the hair on that. The grass line overall, a little fuzzy, a little blurry on that. And on the RP, pretty good details overall on that. So I would say exposure wise, fairly close. I didn't do any retouching on any of these photos. These are straight raw still. As you can see, this is raw 3. And the other one would be a raw 2 on the 6D. So fairly comparable exposure on both of these. So let me go ahead and just blow out back to all the photos again. And this one's a little more active. So take him, and I believe he was moving around pretty good on this one too. So go ahead. Now on this one, you got the RP on the left. He is a little bit blown out. You can see a little bit fuzzy. Probably catching the details on the back side of him. Or on the 6D, did much better job on this one here. The head is in focus. Both kind of a diagonal movement there. This one's a forward movement. So most likely that helped a little bit with the 6D as far as keeping the details sharp and tracking. It's usually harder to track straight at you with some of these cameras. So we'll give that one to the 6D on that as far as that comparison. And then let's back out. Let's see what else we got here. Got some flowers. Let's see, do we have them on the concrete both times? We got them at a full run here on the 60. Fairly good details along the edge. The face is a little blurred out. If you were to really blow it up for like a photo or something, you'd really have a blown out picture or fuzzy picture. So not the best as far as that. Could have been my tracking on that one. Let's see, do I have it running full speed on the RP? We'll go into there. And that one got blown out fuzzy altogether. That was not even a good candidate for comparison on that too. Laying down, just chilling on the RP. Good details, good hairline. Overall, good accurate focus on that. And then let's see what else we got here, guys. Got the photos, got that. So let's do one more comparison of the greenery here. So you get a lot of range as far as colors, lights and darks. This one's a little bit brighter on the RP, and the 60 seems to be the darker exposure on that one. Fairly accurate as far as my framing on that one. I was pretty impressed that I framed it pretty accurately on that one. So you can see a pretty good comparison on that. Let's blow in even closer. Details, fairly close. The 60 got a little bit edge on that one as far as the details and being able to get up close. Let's see, let's blow up in this leaf here if we can. Bring it up to here, because that edge of the leaf yeah, pretty comparable on those two. Pretty comparable. So that was my test on the 50mm, guys. Like I said, it didn't pan out the best way that I thought it was going to. Probably going to have to do like a storyboard type of thing on this to get it more accurate. I'm going to bring you another one, hopefully within a week or two, with a different lens. Obviously, we'll break away from the 50mm. If you have some questions as far as how it's going with this 50mm in particular, drop them in the comments below and I'll try to revisit it quickly, or do another one on the 50mm, most likely indoors since all these were outdoors. But hope you enjoyed this little head-to-head quick update. I will be bringing you more, a little more detailed, and hopefully a little bit more organized than what I have here. So have a good one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time, guys. Have a good one.